Thor movie. Natalie Portman's on Lorraine at 9. And with Sharon Marshall and all the gossip from Soapland, this morning's at 10. Then celebrating 50 years in the biz, Bonnie Langford joins the Loose Women at 12:30. Now the latest ITV News Central with Bob Warman and Sameena Ali Khan.
Welcome to ITV News Central for the East Midlands. On our programme tonight, the sister of murdered schoolboy Ricky Neve from Peterborough calls for the Attorney General to review the sentence of his killer.
In a way, I feel it's not long enough, and I think that he needs more time to reflect on the things that he's done.
Also on the programme, a summer of uncertainty for students hoping to go to university. We'll find out why and what help is available. And it's a sad day for us here in the studio and for you at home, as it's Bob's last programme. We'll take a trip through our archives as we look back at his incredible career.
And of course it is Monday, July the 4th, a very special day indeed, 2022. When it comes to our weather story, high pressure is going to be the dominating feature over the next few days. Join me later and I'll tell you more.
Good evening. The sister of murdered schoolboy Ricky Neve is calling on the Attorney General to increase the minimum 15-year prison sentence given to his killer. Ricky was just 6 when he was murdered by James Watson in November 1994. Watson himself was 13 when he lured Ricky Neve into woods near his home in Peterborough. The judge in the case said Watson would be sentenced as a 13-year-old because that was the age he was when he committed the crime.
Ricky's family, including his sisters, believe his sentence is too lenient and that not all factors were taken into account. Graham Stoddard has been to meet Ricky's sister Rochelle Neve in Leicester and began by asking her what her brother was like.
Very loving, caring, very independent, cheeky. He always had a joke, always wind-up merchant. He was definitely one of them.
You were obviously very close when he went missing and obviously what happened to him. How has your life changed since?
Dramatically. Everything in my life. The way that I live my life, the way that I think, the way that I deal with my children, everything in my life.
It's taken 27 years to get a conviction. The police have apologised for that length of time. How do you feel about that apology? How do you feel about the police?
Initially I was angry because obviously we've waited this long, but I'm kind of relieved. I feel justice has been done to an extent, but in a way I feel it's not long enough. It's, you know, he's
the
lived
conviction, the jail term's too short.
Yeah, it's too short.
The reason he was given 15 years is because he was 13 when he committed the crime. You'd like to see him sentenced as an adult because he's now an adult, and you don't feel like he showed any remorse during the case. No,
he didn't. And I think that he needs more time to reflect on the things that he's done, the way that he absolutely handled himself in that trial, and smirking and smiling and finding it a joke. I wasn't sitting there smiling and finding this a joke. My brother is dead. You know, it's not a joke. We don't find it funny.
Do you find it hard to say his name? Or?
Yeah, I do, because I don't think he should. It was like the James Watson show. It's like he wanted people to know his name and to know that he's done this and to know that he wants the limelight. And I feel like, no, you shouldn't. It's Ricky. It's about Ricky.
You obviously say you felt it was like the James Watson show. How do you want people to remember Ricky?
He was a loving human being, you know, very caring. He was so smart. If he was here, he would have made such a difference to this world. You know, he would have been a father. He would have had everything. You know, a loving home. It's missed out on everything.
Rochelle Neve speaking there to Graham Stoddard. Other news, a man's been charged with the murder of an 11-year-old boy after ambulances were called to Shipley Country Park on June the 18th. The boy, who can't be named for legal reasons, was found injured and later died. Michael Harrison was charged at Southern Derbyshire Magistrates Court today with murder and coercive and controlling behaviour. He's due to appear at Derby Crown Court tomorrow.
7 people have been arrested after invading the circuit at Silverstone during the British Grand Prix. The protesters walked onto the track to protest against global oil usage and were removed immediately. The cars had slowed due to the race being red flagged after an accident. Students applying for university face a summer of uncertainty with more competition for offers and places. A baby boom in the early 2000s means there are more 18-year-olds applying for fewer places as universities claim they were oversubscribed during the pandemic.
Well, this means that students predicted to receive the top grades are facing a string of rejections. In a moment, we'll hear from the University Admissions Service, UCAS, about the situation. But first, Catherine Walker's been to meet a university applicant in Nottingham.
18-year-old Ellie from Nottingham has always dreamed of becoming a doctor. But despite being predicted some of the top grades in her school, she's been rejected from all of her chosen universities.
Obviously, I was really disappointed and I spent a lot of time revising because obviously you need AAA to do medicine. And then when I got my rejections after my interviews as well, it was a bit of, well, what am I supposed to do now? Because it has been my plan and my goal for a really long time.
New research suggests that universities are looking to stabilise numbers after a surge during the pandemic. Overall, the offer rate for university applications is down by 4%. At the most selective universities, offers have dropped by 7%. And medicine and dentistry applicants have felt the biggest impact, with universities making 13% fewer offers. After 2 years of disruption from COVID, one head teacher in Nottingham says it's taking its toll.
I think it's really difficult for some of these students because they were the first year that fell off the edge of the cliff and didn't sit exams, and for them it was all about coming back to school and to college and building resilience and having a sense of a good future. And I think for them, they work really hard, they're getting predicted good grades and there's nowhere to go.
It's a frustration shared by the Shadow Education Secretary, who claims this shortage of places was avoidable.
There has been a total lack of planning. We knew this problem would be coming even from last year, where we had all of that chaos around exams then. And there hasn't been the planning that needs to go on with the universities, working with them. So ministers working directly with universities to make sure that our children are able to move on to that next step in their lives.
But the government claims there isn't a problem and says they are investing in university places.
The government does not cap university places. The only areas which we do have a cap in place is for dentistry and medicine. And we have invested a record amount in our universities in the last decade to enable them to grow places where they want, where the demand is there. And we know that some courses are growing this year. Some have decided to restrict some places, and they're autonomous. They are independent in law.
Universities UK say they won't know if and how many students have been affected until results day. But for those top candidates who've already faced rejection, it's proving to be a testing summer. Catherine Walker, ITV News.
Well, earlier I spoke to Claire Marchant from UCAS, the University Admissions Service, which also provides support to students to find out what advice they're giving to this year's cohort, including if students can apply through clearing.
Students can absolutely go through clearing this year when it opens, and there'll be over 30,000 courses available, so lots and lots of choice. And then there's also degree and higher apprenticeships through UCAS Career Finder, so lots of choice, and students should be reassured that there is lots of choice. They've just got to be prepared and do their research if they're thinking of using clearing.
So are the universities doing clearing as normal?
Absolutely. All universities are doing clearing as normal. What I would say is there'll be some very competitive institutions, very competitive courses at those institutions that are just a bit tougher to get into than a usual year. But that's really a sign of years to come as we have more 18-year-olds in the UK population year on year.
Now, of course, some students possibly won't get the offers they want. What's your advice to them?
So if you don't get the offer you want, or you wake up on results day and you haven't got what you want, I think that the big thing is to have a plan B. So I've done a bit of research and think, actually, if I don't get those grades, what am I going to do? And do that research now so you're in the best position possible to make a really informed decision come the results day. That would be my advice. And there's lots of people to support you doing that. So there's UCAS colleagues on phones, on social media, teachers advisors, but also UK admissions professionals in universities and colleges.
Now, let's talk about money, very important to students. Some changes are on the way, aren't they, for student loans and how they're paid back in the next year. Can you tell us more?
Absolutely. So the number of years it takes to pay back a student loan is increasing, but also that salary threshold is reducing as well. So there is a couple of changes that are coming, but we do know from students that actually it's more immediate financial concerns they have around accommodation, cost of course materials, things like that. So lots of advice available to them on that, but also how to have a bit of part-time employment alongside their studies. So again, here to help them in terms of just how they transition successfully into university and college.
Claire Martin, thank you for your advice. Thank you.
A man has been left injured after a lorry fell from a major bridge in Nottingham today. Nottinghamshire Fire and Rescue Service were called to Lady Bay Bridge just before 9 o'clock this morning. The man was rescued from the vehicle. The extent of his injuries aren't known.
Barristers in Nottingham have been striking over their pay today. Members of the Criminal Bar Association have been outside Nottingham Crown Court in their second week of industrial action. They say juniors in the profession earn less than the minimum wage. Barristers are also refusing to accept new cases, meaning judges will be forced to delay hearings and trials. Meanwhile, the government says criminal barristers will receive a 15% fee rise in September and has encouraged them to accept the offer.
The ITV Evening News is on after us with the details of what's coming up. Here's Lucrezia Millarini.
Coming up, the latest on allegations of sexual harassment by Conservative MP Chris Pincher. What did the Prime Minister know before promoting the MP at the last reshuffle? Inflation hits school dinners. Suppliers warn rising food and fuel prices coupled with supply chain delays could impact school meals. And we talk to British tennis hopeful Cameron Norrie ahead of his Wimbledon quarter-final tomorrow. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
It is a sad day for us here at Central because it is Bob's last day. After almost 50 years on your screens, Bob's now hanging up his earpiece and his mic for a well-deserved retirement. So for the rest of the programme, Bob, we are going to look at your wonderful career and we're going to start with some of your most memorable moments. Have a look.
Here we go.
This is the street the residents have dubbed Earthquake Alley. They know all about earth tremors down here. They've had 3 of them in the past week. Tremors which have sent tiles skidding down from roofs, toppling chimney pots and setting the old china jangling on the sideboard.
Bill, it's not that I'm a coward or anything, but I don't think I'm going to have a swim today. I don't know what it is. I think I'll just call it a day, all right?
Well, that's up to you, huh?
What did you do that for?
I didn't touch you.
Just across the road, the Aston Hippodrome, which gave this pub an enviable clientele. Vesta Tilley, Mary Lloyd, Charlie Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy. Yes, they've all been in here and they've all ordered a tot through this snob screen. Why a snob screen? Well, in those days, in Victorian days, it wasn't done to be seen in a pub. So, if you were in the lounge bar, you ordered your pint or whatever, and you took a peep through the snob screen to see who was in the public bar. It's an amazing relic, isn't it?
news this lunchtime for the ITV region. There were few signs this morning of an immediate return to work by Leyland strikers following yesterday's peace deal. This strike's unofficial, so how long are you prepared to stick it out?
As long as it takes.
Mr. Freeman, thanks very much.
When's it going to be on?
Oh, 6:30 tonight on Central News.
Look forward to seeing it. Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Good afternoon, the lunchtime news for the Central region, and we begin with football.
My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain.
Actually, this is what Bob looks like when he's not working.
What
is it?
Well, listen, when I was a kid, which was not that long ago, the black country always began in the next town. Because you didn't want to belong to the black country. Now, everyone wants to belong to the black country, so it's expanding all the time now.
Just in case. Thank you very much. I don't need this.
This is a 40-year dream come true, this is. Wow. Not bad. Not bad. Anything a bit bigger? I love it.
Now, particularly that last one.
Yeah.
The health and safety was non-existent.
No, wasn't it?
Oh, you were really good.
Oh, come on.
Oh, it's lovely memories, though, Bob.
Oh, terrific
Bit of
memories.
everything.
And gosh, yes, I mean, the Spitfire, trip in a Spitfire.
Yeah.
What dreams are made of. It's absolutely
Yes.
wonderful. Yeah.
And you were educating us, the snob screen, which was quite interesting.
That's interesting. Yes, it's still there in the Barton's Arms in Birmingham. It's still there, the snob screen. Yeah.
And we know what you'd look like if you were auditioning for some one of those programmes about the Black Country in particular, with your little flat cap.
Well, you know, I've got a great love affair with the Black Country and all its characters and its habits and its poetry. I love the place. I really do. Yeah.
I know there was some lovely, and we liked seeing your reaction to that as well. But our viewers have had a lot of reaction to what you've been doing over the years, and you shared some of your own personal experiences during the pandemic, in particular when it was very hard for everybody, and we had a little bit of footage actually of you and Des, because you were both shielding at the time.
Oh, right,
so let's have a look.
Yes.
Bob, let's start with you. Is that a touch of facial hair I can see?
Well, you can't escape it, can you? This is the sort of thing that you do in lockdown. Plenty of time to do it, and Des is always going on about his facial growth. So I thought I'd just give it a go. I've never had a beard before in my life, and I've never particularly liked them, but I'm told they really are the height of fashion. So I thought, well, let's give it a crack.
It didn't last.
I was going to say.
It started to itch very quickly. I thought, no,
got rid of it.
Not me at all, no.
Oh, well, lots of people, Bob, across the Midlands are really, really going to miss you. And they're going to miss seeing you, going to miss watching you. I know, because every time I've been out recently, they've said, we're going to miss Bob.
Oh, well, I'm going to miss them as well. I'm going to miss the viewers, of course I am, yeah.
Well, we've got lots of messages now from viewers in Leicester and your hometown of Walsall.
Oh, right.
Hi Bob, happy retirement.
It won't be the same Central News. Bob was more than just the news. He just made the news more interesting.
I'd just like to tell him I shall miss him when he goes, watching him on telly. And good luck for the future for him. Think about it very often.
We've lived a few different places in the Midlands and it's just always been there. A friendly face.
I remember him being on Yorkshire television in probably late 60s, early 70s. And then he must have moved to Midlands after that. But yeah, very good presenter.
I met him at the St Paul's church a couple of years ago. Got his autograph. Yeah, I say he's a nice chap.
And he's always very smartly dressed. It's just him, and I think he's a very, very nice, thoroughly nice man.
I didn't realise he was that old. But hell, he don't look it, does he?
There's only going to be one Bob Warman. The others have got to come with their own style and their own thing going on, because there's only going to be one Bob.
Well, I've always enjoyed your presentation, very professional, and I wish you a happy retirement.
Bob, I've grown up with you for X amount of years. You made Central News what it was, and unfortunately, it will not be the same without you. But all the best in your retirement, and I wish you a long and fulfilled life as you have made mine. All the best, and thank you very, very, very much.
Have a good time, Bob.
Happy retirement, Bob. Well done to you, mate.
Well, thank you to all of you very much. It's very touching, that, isn't it?
It is. It's lovely comments there as well, isn't it? You're a very smart man, lovely man, all of that.
Oh, well, yeah. And they've got very long memories as well, haven't they?
They have, yes. Well, you've been there for such a long time, that's it.
Most of their lives.
And yeah, most of their lives. Yeah. And Bob, you know, we know you've got massive, well, the person who's going to take over has got massive shoes to fill. That person is here. He's with us, Steve. I know your feet are probably size 11s.
Do you know, they're size 12.
Steve,
It still won't be big enough, I don't think.
Yes. Any tips for Steve, Bob?
Oh, I can't give Steve. I mean, there's a seasoned broadcaster taking over. I can't give you any tips except this. Just enjoy it.
Oh, I think I will. I think we're working with Sam. We have such a giggle. But I tell you what, Bob, what I think, just this last week, I was in the newsroom, you were in, and you went over to one of our colleagues who's a little less experienced than you, which, let's face facts, is almost everybody in the newsroom. And they'd written a script for your lunch bulletin, and I heard you in the loveliest manner say, look, why don't we try writing it like this instead? But you know what it was? It was your tone was lovely. It wasn't, you didn't talk down to them. And I think that's those little touches where people will learn from you. And I think that's so it's not just what you give the viewers, it's what you give to the staff here. And I think that's something I will try and do, Bob.
Of course you will.
Take on your tone of voice. It's lovely.
Of course you will. That's very kind.
Thank you for that, Steve. But we've got some really special messages out for you, Bob, this time from some really well-known faces.
He's an absolute legend. He's an institution, isn't he? He's an absolute institution, is Bob. I mean, I remember, I was born in 74, so I think he started his career in 73. But, you know, he was just there. He was there on the telly. He was always there. The day wasn't the same. If he wasn't there, he had to be there. A real constant.
Of course, the old boy's clonking on a bit. God knows he's nearly, I think he's nearly as old as me. But to achieve that longevity and that much respect and that much love and warmth for this figure in the corner of your room every night takes a lot of years of hard graft, you know. So he's put the hard hours in, and just because he's not on the telly anymore locally, people won't forget him.
I am sad to know that he's leaving. I'm sure everybody will not want him to go and will, you know, cherish the lovely memories that he's given us, so many fun moments, and always been there, supportive. That's the lovely Bob.
How nice. How very nice of Rusty.
Feeling the love.
I certainly have it.
Lots of love, isn't there?
Yes.
And somebody's dressed up for the occasion, I have to say.
Oh, wow.
Des. Looking sharp.
Very sharp, Des.
Well, thank you, Bob. But you know something? I honestly, with a heavy heart, I stand here because I know when you announced it, I was absolutely gutted, and I didn't think this day would ever arrive. So I'm heartbroken that you're leaving, because over the years that we've spent together, mate, you know, we've shared a lot of stories. We've told stories about pushing at the gate and trying to move on through life and that sort of thing. So, but you're a bloke that I respect immensely. And above all, I really, really value your opinion, which is absolutely great. So, Bob, all the best towards your future. And let me just say to the viewers at home about this gentleman right here, this character right here. We went for lunch earlier on today, and upstairs in the office there's all these balloons, there's all these cars, and everyone's going, Bob, you're great. Bob sits with me having coffee, and he looked at me literally in the eyes and says, Des, I don't deserve it. He didn't think he deserved it. That's the sort of bloke that he is. So, Bob, all the viewers out there...
I've got a lump in my throat, I really have.
All the viewers out there love you. You've been around for how many decades? And I am so sad to see you leave. It's going to be the Bob Warman era and then whatever happens after that. Anyway, time now, I believe, to go to the weather just after this.
ITV Central weather is sponsored by Octopus, the renewable energy company.
And I'm sure it hasn't escaped your attention that today is July the 4th. It's a Monday and it's a very special occasion. Why? Obviously, it is Bob's last day. But what is our weather story? It is looking fairly settled as we head towards the end of the week, all dominated by this area of high pressure that's going to continue to grow as we head towards Thursday and Friday. Currently, though, we are being influenced by low pressure. That's why over the course of today, we saw our winds being drawn in from the northwest. Now, the rain stayed away, and fortunately, as you do head into the overnight story, again, our weather story remains fairly settled. You may just see the odd light shower towards the far north and west, and if you do live to the far east of our patch, you're probably going to hang on to some clearer skies, but quite a benign night. Not an awful lot going on. The winds die down as well. Temperatures between 10 and 12 degrees. 12 degrees, as always, 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Once you wake up and enjoy the day that is tomorrow. Again, if you live to the east, you're going to enjoy more in the way of sunny spells. A little bit of cloud drifting in from the north and west. A couple of light showers, rogue showers, nothing problematic at all. Light winds and stunning temperatures, 19, 20 degrees. As always, I'm going to leave you with the summary.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Central weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
And grass pollen is at its peak. It will start to fade away over the next couple of weeks. But if you do suffer from allergies, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday are not the days for you. The pollen count is very high.
You were sniffing. It's hay fever.
Well, it is hay fever,
yes,
yes, I
promise. Oh, Bob, I guess all that's left for me to say really is that the Central family is not going to be the same. We are all going to miss you. I'm going to miss you. I've worked with you for such a long time. Yeah. You've taught me loads and we've had a giggle.
We certainly have.
Had a laugh.
It's been really wonderful.
Sometimes when we shouldn't have.
Quite.
But we are all going to miss you, and hopefully the programme will continue to meet those standards that I know you maintain. And yes, thank you for the dictionary.
Yes, of course. Well, I have to say, you know, I've been absolutely inundated with goodwill messages and cards from viewers who have been watching our programme for years and years, and viewers who've grown up with me from a young age, and they're now in their 50s and 60s. Yeah. Extraordinary feeling. How do you repay that sort of loyalty, other than to say thank you and to let you know what a real pleasure and privilege it's been to be in your living room throughout the years. You'll always be the finest audience in the finest region, I believe that. And although I'm leaving Central, well, I certainly won't be leaving the region. So exciting times ahead. But from now on, I'll be one of the viewers and watching the news rather than relating it. But for now, a very big thank you and my warmest wishes to each and every one of you.
Those are really lovely words, Bob. But that is not quite it, because we do have an and finally, in time-honoured fashion, just for you. I know you said you didn't want a cake, so we didn't get you a cake, I promise you that. But we did get you something else instead. And this is it. Let's have a look. This is the eye at the Plaza at Birmingham's Grand Central.
Believe it.
And it says, bye-bye, Bob. I love the fact you got the mug, the ITV Central. Yes. Right on brand, Bob. Brilliant. How do you feel about it? Look at that. Everybody's looking at that.
Oh, extraordinary. Well, I guess I'm leaving on platform one.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, what an extraordinary send-off. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. It's been really wonderful.
Yeah, we'll miss you, Bob, definitely. Oh, you take care, all right? Stay in touch. From the team here, have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh.